Uh, good, good afternoon. Yes, afternoon. Good afternoon. Um, I got a message, and I believe that it is the Lord trying to warn us again for several reasons. So I'm just asking that y'all bear with me, and that y'all ask the Lord to truly give y'all an ear to hear what it is that He's saying, not me, but Him. And if it's not Him, you know what I mean, to make it known, and make it known to me too, if He revealing to you that it's not. You know, I know that usually people have different people that they can go and talk to nowadays, where they can take and give confirmation about stuff before they take a release. I'm hearing different men and women of God say that, but I reflect on me reading the Bible and how it was times when God would take and give a word to a man or woman of God, and they didn't have nobody going to talk. They had to go and do what it was that God was telling them to do. So I'm caught in between, you know what I mean, of wanting to know if it's really God, because I'm fighting with so much other stuff that I know is demonic. But I've learned too that the demonic attacks like that normally comes when it really is God is saying something to a person, or when a person has opened up a door to certain things. So I've been praying to God about that as well. I'm not trying to make this real long, so I'm just going to say a quick prayer. Father Yahweh, I come to you humbly in the name of Yeshua Jesus Christ of Nazareth. You know my heart. You know my mind. And you know what I would like my will to be. I would like my will to be not just bent towards you, but bent and then straightened out to where I'm walking towards you and only you. I don't want to be one of the ones that get on here and mislead your children, for I know that you love them. I know that you want to reach them all, even those that's committing some of the worst sins, because that's your heart. You have a heart to where you want to take and heal the broken and take and turn the broken back to you. So I'm asking you to help me to take and do what's right. I'm asking you this, Lord, in the mighty name of Yeshua Jesus Christ of Nazareth, even now. Just like I got stopped when I was getting ready to write this down this morning, if I'm doing something that's wrong even now, I ask that you stop it. I ask that you shut it down. But whatever I'm doing is what's right and it's coming from you, then I ask that you give them an ear to hear what it is that you are saying through me. And I thank you, Heavenly Father. Either way that you decide to take and go, I know will be right. So I'm asking that your mighty hand move, Heavenly Father, touching the souls of each and every person that watch this, and each and every person that might not never be able to watch this, especially my brothers and sisters over there in Africa. You revealed to me years ago what was happening over there, and I'm sorry that I couldn't get it out in the right way. But I prayed and prayed and prayed about that as well, and it was heavy and broke me down. I love you, and I know that you love us, and I know that you saved me for a reason. I want to do your will. I do. I do. You know I do. So in saying all that, I just ask humbly that you help us. You have mercy upon us, Heavenly Father. I'm asking this in the mighty name of Yeshua Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and I thank you. Hallelujah. Okay, I'm going to take and I'm going to read Ezekiel chapter 5, and then I'm going to read Isaiah. Because a lot of times I get on here and I get to give the messages, and I forget to read what I'm told to read, so I'm going to do that now. Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 1 to 5, it says, "And thou, son of man, take thee a sharp knife, take thee a barber razor, and cause it to pass upon thy head and upon thy beard, and take thee balance to weight, and divide the hair. Thou shalt burn with fire a third part in the midst of the city." And when I was asking God when I was giving this message was, is this really him? My hand went up in the air as I was on my knees praying. My hand went up on the air and it did this. When I asked God, is this you again? It stuck back out and did this. Okay? So it said, thou shalt burn with fire a third part in the midst of it. Remember, Lord, when I asked you. When the days of the siege are fulfilled, thou shalt take a third part and smite a body with a knife, and a third part thou shalt scatter, and I will draw out a sword after them. Thou shalt also take thereof a few in number, and bind them in thy skirts. Then take of them again, and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire. For thereof shall a fire come forth into all the houses of Israel. Thus said the Lord God, this is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her. Now, I've tried to explain this verse in 6 and 7. I wasn't told to do 6 and 7, so I'm going to do what I was told 1 and 5. But I'm going to speak on 5 a little bit. It says, thus said the Lord, this is Jerusalem. I have set, thus said the Lord, this is Jerusalem. I have set in the midst of the nations and countries that are around about her. Now, United States is not Jerusalem, but I'm taking and I'm looking at this in this way. It's this me. Here it is. God has took United States and put United States in the midst of all these countries all these countries that surround it. And God had raised United States up and made United States great. Just like ancient Rome, Babylon, and all that, they end up rising up and being great. You can't achieve greatness like that without God being there in some type of way. And I prove it over and over and over in the Bible. Okay? Now, God has took and raised the United States up, made the United States great. When the founders first did what they did in this country, you know, even on the dollar bill, I believe it got in God we trust. You know, so when they start doing what they started doing, God, they was keeping God in the midst of it. They was, you know, honoring God. And God, you know, just let this country just blow up, get real big, the most powerful country in the world, and put it in the midst of everybody else, and we supposed to be an example. But we're not, because if you pay attention to what comes to me, you'll understand it. So now I'm going to go to Isaiah. Remember, we're not Jerusalem, but here it is. If you just take and use what God is saying about in verse 5, how you took and put Jerusalem in the midst, and Jerusalem was supposed to be an example for all the nations that's around them, but they went to taking and doing all the wickedness and stuff that they did. So you go and read the rest of chapter 5, and you'll understand where I'm going with this with the United States. Okay? Now, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 6, verse 1 to 9. Nabukushna de hata la bakishne, baru seatin de la bakaitu, baruka shane de la bakaisende, mahin de la bakushne de la bakait, jeti, menjati aramba, suriadin de la bakishne, shanina handala bakot. Confirmation in more ways than 3. It will start soon. They will know. Trust in the Lord. He occasionally the heart of the Lord. Ezekiel chapter 6, verse 1 through 9. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting up on the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. Sorry. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the sheriffs unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongues from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this has touched thy lips, and iniquities is taken away, and thy sins are purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear you indeed, but understand not, and see you indeed, but perceive not. Now I did the reading of what I was told to read, and this was what happened when I went to pray today. 6/28, 2025. 11:33 a.m. my prayer ended. I was told about the 3 attacks that will happen in the month of July. Okay, then I was being reminded about the 3 spirits, dark spirits that I seen entering into those half man, half bull spirits. Okay, this was a separate thing where I seen 4 gates, 4 doors taken open on the 4 corners of the earth, and then 24 doors open in the bottom of it, and darkness was coming up out of these doors. Okay, this was a couple of days ago. Okay, but what I was told this morning, but I was being reminded of that. But this morning I was told about the 3 attacks that will happen in the month of July. Yeah, this speak was it in the month of July. I was told that the 3 things that he wanted was our hearts. Okay, and after I started writing this down in this way, everything got blocked out. After I wrote hearts, it was like something that shut me down. Completely shut me down. And I come to realize that I was getting ready to write it down in the way that I was interpreting what I was hearing, and he didn't want me to write it down that way. So I said, I went and I realized, I said, Lord, if this is you, why did I, get harder like that? Why did it stop? And, as I began to settle down and just walk around and do different things, I write right here, I'm back. I come back and I sit down because I began to understand why everything got blocked out and I just got froze and stopped. Okay, I write, I'm back. As I stepped away, I realized that I was getting ready to write it down wrong. I was getting ready to say the 3 things that he wanted was our heart, mind, and will. That he wanted was our heart, mind, and will. Okay, now we know that God desires to be one with us because created it to be that way. But that was my interpretation of what I was hearing when I was being told that we had kicked him out of our minds, heart, and will. Reflection, Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 3, verse 1-7. Now let's go and read Daniel. And this me right here, because I'm thinking I'm trying to connect all the dots and make sense of this, and at the same time talking to the Lord. So after I did this with Daniel and whatnot, I went back and I asked the Lord again, is this shoe to give me some type of confirmation? And, I end up seeing the white vessel, and I end up seeing the angel that usually be with that white vessel that have on the white gown, and his face is like a flame of fire. Bluish white is like fire. Real, the hottest kind of fire you could burn. I ain't gonna quench it if it's you. I'm gonna trust you. Help me to relax and do this. Okay, we in Daniel. We're in Daniel chapter 3, and we're gonna read verse 1 to 7. And please listen. Remember what he said, we have kicked him out of our hearts, our mind, and our will. We have kicked him out. Okay? Now watch this with Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was three scores cubit, and his breadth thereof 6 cubit. He set it up in the plains of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Now remember, I was telling you about seeing all them ancient spirits here in this country, and I thought it was God showing me that this country was a melting pot, okay? But it revealed to me that this country is more a reflection of ancient Babylon, Egypt, India and all that, where they worship all these other gods other than him. Now, this was happening back in 2011, 2012, 2013, okay? So, it shows in the province of Babylon, yes, just read. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the prince, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasury, the councils, counselors, the sheriffs, and the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the prince, the governors, the captains, the judge, the treasurers, and the counselors, the sheriffs, and the rulers of the province were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud. Okay, I can't pronounce that right. Forgive me. It's spelled Herald. Herald cried aloud. To it is commanded. Okay, he's letting them know that they must praise his image. O people, nation, and language, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, pastorlike, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning furnace. Therefore, at the time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sebach, psaltery, forgive me, Lord, forgive me, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nation, and the language fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Now, we know how this story goes. It was 3 Hebrew boys that did not do it, and they was put in the furnace, but God was in there with them. But now, including me, don't nobody want to get it in the furnace and been burned, because it's heavy. It's real heavy. And I had experience of it this morning, because I just cried and cried as I was on my knees this morning. It was just It's overwhelming to know that God had been speaking to me about things years ago, and to see that this stuff is manifesting now in the way that it is. And, you know, it's like I was trying my best to put it out and get it once, but like when none of the one is heeding. And then it was affecting me too, because he had been telling me to do things that would lead me to blessings and other things. And I wasn't being obedient either, so I've been missing out, and I'm seeing it. I'm talking about I'm seeing it in a way that if I was to really tell y'all wouldn't believe it. You know, and I'm missing it, missing all of it because of disobedience. And a lot of us being disobedient. It ain't that I kicked him out of my heart, it's just the things that he's telling me I'm not doing in the way that I'm being told to do them. That's why I'm trying to do this morning. So anyway, we know how they went. They had the 3 boys, 3, remember? 3, put them in the furnace. But it was a 4th one in there with them. So we know how that story going there. Now, the other day too, when I was reading Mark chapter 11 again, as I was reading this, and I got to verse 10, I got stuck. Verse 10 of chapter 11 went to talking to me. You know, and I got stuck, and I just, you know, hey, cuz, love you. I got to get over there too. You know, so it'll probably be tomorrow. And I got stuck as I was in verse 10. Now watch what verse 10 said in Mark chapter 11. Watch what it says. It says, "For this is he whom it is written, Behold, I send," oh, this is Matthew chapter 11. Forgive me, I'm supposed to be a Mark. Mark, forgive me. Y'all, forgive me. Don't lose your focus. Mark chapter 11, verse 10. Now look what it says. It says, "Blessed be the kingdom of our father David, that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." Now you know how numbers begin to speak to me. And I know this was God that was giving me these little nudges because of the confirmation of where I got the confirmation. This is what I did on this idea earlier in the day. And then later on, come to find out, President Trump was talking about a 12-day war and how it was going to be a ceasefire and all this. But I had already been guided to this verse where the 12 was being mentioned in 3 ways. It first started speaking to me as I read, "Blessed be the kingdom." The verse got to speaking to me about which kingdom. Is it the kingdom that's being talked about in this Bible? Or is it man's kingdom? Or is it Satan's kingdom? So 312 showed up in here. And that's how I understood that, okay, help me, Lord. I'm trying to do this so they can understand. It started getting revealed to me what kingdom is trying to be established here. Not just in this country, but throughout the world. Then God started reminding me, I'm going to say God, started reminding me about Matthew chapter 24, verse 6 and 7. So if we go to Matthew chapter 24 and we read verse 6 and 7, it's really important we read it and we understand it. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," and we hear it, "see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Now watch this. "For nation shall rise against nation." Now watch this. "And kingdom against kingdom." Now we're going to stop right there. Kingdom against kingdom. Now, I know when this is speaking, it could be referring to, you know, God's kingdom against Satan's kingdom. But it's not speaking to me in that way. It's talking about kingdoms that's sitting here on earth fighting against one another. It's speaking to me about these nations that have their own kingdom set up within them. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar got so full of himself that he made an image, he made himself a god, and forgot that there was a real God. He knew that it was a God that was more powerful and stronger than him. He knew this. But he got so full of himself, he pushed that out of the way. So Mark chapter 11 verse 10 starts speaking to me, because you get 12 in there 3 ways. We know that the number 12 represents government and kingdom. We know this. Now watch this. If you go there, and he gave me confirmation later on that day, because the number 1202 come out. Now, same time President Trump talking about the ceasefire and 12, the same thing. The 1-2 showed up first, then the 02. Now watch this. I'm finna show y'all that number that took and come out. Okay? Finna show y'all. The middle of this that comes in the name of Hosanna, that's the number 2 that you get there. The middle is 2. So here it is. You got 10, which is 10. Then you got the middle, that's 2. Now watch this. That's said in 20 words. This verse is said in 20 words. Okay? So here it is. Watch this. You had a number 10220, right? If you take and you remove the 0 from off the 20 words, which that's taking and breaking it down, you got the number 1022. A lot of people going to say no. Now I'm finna show you the number again, the same number again, in Mark chapter, because I got it right back there, Mark chapter 11 verse 1, where it all started off on. Now I'm finna show you the same number. Now in here, in Mark chapter 11 verse 1, it says, and when they came not unto Jerusalem, unto Bethphage and Bethany, at the Mount of Olives, very important, because we know this is where Jesus is going to return. He sent forth 2 of his disciples. He's mentioning there 2 of his disciples. So we got the 2 right off the back. Got the 2 right off the back. He sent 2 of his disciples. This verse in Mark chapter 11 verse 1 has exactly 102 letters in it. So here it is, exactly 102 letters in it. So we got the 2 disciples that he sent. The 2 that he sent for. We got 102 letters. That's the same number that come out that night. Same number. Just in a different way. It came out 1202, but it's the same number. It's a 12-way number. 12 ways that it can come. Sign. And then if you pay attention to the way that the number come out, God is hollering. He's speaking real loud. The number come out 120. 120 in the upper room. When the spirit runs. Then the last number is 2. Second coming. Now here it is. Last night in the Mega Million drawing, the gold ball was 2. It was 2, forgive me, it was 2. Don't want to get caught up with these numbers, because I can really take you somewhere with that. And I'm not being boastful or prideful in saying that. I spend time understanding, and the words, the numbers, and the letters, they all start to talk to me. And sometimes I become one with it, where it speaks to me in a way that I don't know how to explain to other people. But that verse that day before he took and said what he said had already started speaking to me about what kingdom. What kingdom? Is it man's kingdom, thinking he a God? Is it Satan's kingdom, who know he ain't God? Or is it God's kingdom that's being mentioned in here, where it said, blessed be the kingdom of our father David, that cometh in the name of the Lord, Hosanna in the highest. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time showing y'all how the 12 deal with it, but I'm going to show you one time. This way. Now pay attention. Right here. Bless. That's 7 letters in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. 7 letters in it. Then you got B, that's 2, that's 9, right? Then you got the, that's 3. So you got 12 letters before you get to the kingdom. 12, pointing towards the kingdom. 12 letters before you get there. And begin to talk to me. And I said, wow. Said, blessed be the, and then kingdom. Now watch this when you go backwards. You get the same exact thing. Watch this, let's go back. Kingdom. No coincidence. Kingdom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 letters. 7 letters. The 3 letters. So the 7 and 3 is 10. B, 2. So you get 12 before you get to the word blessed. We know that God's kingdom is a blessed place. That's where all things come from. So you're looking at the 12 where the blessed is going to the kingdom. What kingdom is being speaking of here? Listen to this. Kingdom of our father David. Our father David. Okay? That comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. Who was a worshiper at that time? Jesus that was riding in on a donkey. Okay, let's go from verse 7 and up. They brought the coat unto Jesus and cast their garments on him, and he sat upon him. And many spread their garments in the way, and others cut down branches of the trees and strawed them in the way. And they that went before and they that followed cried, saying, Hosanna, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the kingdom. Now this shows y'all how that 12 did what it did both ways. It was talking to me. When I got to the kingdom, it just went to talking to me. Okay? And then when you do the whole thing, you get to 12 again. Because this is being said in 20 words in the 10th verse. Now watch this. 10 breaks down to 1 plus 0 is 1. You got 20 words at the end of that. 2 plus 0 breaks down to 2. So you got the 1 and the 2 left. You have the 12 again. And then when you break 12 down, what do you get? 3. So the question is, right now, because we got 12, we talking about what government or kingdom is being established right now. And then we got, when you take and break that down, you got the 3. Here we go with the 3 again. I told y'all it was the 3 that was missing in the other video to make up the 9, to make up the 3, 3, 3. I told y'all we was in, let me stop. It was revealed to me that we was in the 3, 6, 9 sequence, which in the 3, 6, 9 sequence you have 3, 3, 3. The last 3 shows up as September the 23rd of 2025. Okay? Which is the year of the 69 to the last part. Okay? Now, what kingdom is being established? God has already warned us. He has already warned us about Satan trying to set up his kingdom. He has already warned us about false Jesuses and false prophets, all in Matthew. He's already warned us about all of this stuff. And I'm getting ready to get off here. Okay, let me read what else come to me. So here it is. I took and got to that, did that with Nebuchadnezzar and all that. So I go on the right. I said, now, Nebuchadnezzar, there was a real, Nebuchadnezzar knew that there was a real God, but got beside himself like we are doing right now. Now watch this. The above came to me all but Daniel. I got to think about that. Everything else that I told y'all about, happened, came to me. Everything, the above came to me all but Daniel chapter 3, verse 1 to 7. after I started crying out, Father Yahweh, about the killings over there in Africa and of the Christians and the women in Africa, I reminded him how he, God, had given us this beautiful gift of a woman to be with man. Okay, I was talking to him about how he gave us the woman, to take and be with us. Because God says it's not good for man to be alone. He created a woman. He gave us this gift. I went on to talk to him about how this was a great gift, one of the greatest gifts he gave to us, and how his sons knew that this gift of a woman was very precious. Then reflection, Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 3. I cried like a baby as I spoke to Father Yahweh about Africa and the U.S. here, and the USA here, and us, the USA here. So let's go to Genesis right quick, because I'm running out of time. This thing gonna cut off. Let's go to Genesis right quick. Genesis chapter 6. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6 right quick. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 3. Now watch this. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men, they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now here it is, you got angels looking at these women that God created and gave to us, sons of God. And they saying, that's good. I want some of that. And it come together with it. And God goes on to say in the next verse, which he's saying right here, he's saying, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Now here we go with this. God talking about his spirit. And then he mentioned in the days of man being 120. I just showed y'all what later on that night when we was talking about government, what kingdom and all that. The number that came out, it came out 1, 2, 0, then 2. And here God talking about man days being 120 years old. Okay? The number reveals the 120. We know in Acts chapter, let's go to Acts right quick. Let's go to Acts. Come on. Let's go. I'm gonna let this word talk. Let's go to Acts chapter 1, verse 26, somewhere around up in there. It should be, hold on, somewhere up in around there, hold on. Not 26. I got my, it's verse 15, I believe. It say, and in those days Peter stood in the midst of the disciples and said, the number of the names together were about 120. Then we know what happened after that. It was the outpouring of spirit. And here God talking about his spirit and man living 100. Do y'all see the sign? And do y'all see how it's taking and speaking? Do y'all see? You get that same number if you go to Mark chapter 11, verse 1. You get that same number if you go to Mark chapter 11, verse 10, where it's talking about kingdoms. The return of Jesus, where he's going to be on the Mount of Olives. Verse 10, who is talking about? It's talking about Jesus and the kingdom. But right now, God is trying to tell us to pay attention. Satan and man is trying to set up their kingdoms. At the same time, he calling out to his children, saying, hey, I'm going to make a way for y'all to do what y'all need to do if y'all open up your minds, y'all hearts, and y'all will to me. I ain't going to force it on y'all, but the things that I said going to happen. Because when I speak, it's not going to return unto me void. So open up your heart, your mind, and your will, and I'm going to guide you so we can bring in what? The last number on that came out was 2. the second coming. So my spirit that I said won't always be with you can be with you, so I can do that what was done in the upper room with the 120. Man, days will be 120 years. It was 120 in the upper room. The outpouring of the Spirit. I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to go ahead and finish reading this. And like I said, I was crying like a baby, because it really hurt. And I was talking to Father Yahweh. And I write that Father Yahweh had been speaking to me for years about the enemy planning to do evil to the people over there in Africa. I remember one night while listening to Victoria Renzi and Nathaniel Bassey and William Dye, I'll never forget this long as I live, back in 2023, it was in October. Man, I wanted to go outside. We was in the campsite. I wanted to go outside the camp and just start praising the Lord and walking back and forth. But it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And, we was at the campsite, so I just had to just bottle it, hold it all in, man. I mean, I was feeling it, man. I mean, really, they had set it off. For real. And later on, was praying again, and got to crying, and God was revealing to me how I was going to be taxed on people over there. He was talking to me about different places in Africa, and all of it has been happening. And it just wasn't in 2023, but he had been talking to me about it a while. I remember when Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery first was talking about taking and going over there in Africa. I was picking up that she needed to be careful, and I was praying for her, and just that another God kept her safe. But even back then, I was picking up all the bad stuff, and I couldn't really digest, and really didn't have nobody would go stuff to, hey, this coming to me, this, that, and the other. What you think about this? So I really don't have nobody to turn to but him, because when I tried that before, and people realized that I didn't understand, they tried to manipulate and use just like they're trying to do now. The sad thing about it is this: God is fed up with that spirit of Jezebel and manipulation. God is fed up with that spirit of disobedience. And that includes me not listening to the things that be telling, because I wouldn't be sitting here now. Not saying I wouldn't come back home, not saying I wouldn't do right by the people in the neighborhood, but I would have the things that I need to take a travel and go and see and do some of the things that I always dreamed about when I was in the penitentiary. I want to be standing in a stream of water with them water boots that come all the way up to your hips, fishing in the stream all around nature. I used to fantasize about this all the time when I was locked up. Hiking, even though I'm not a real good swimmer, I'm good enough, but I wouldn't want to be out nowhere deep without no life jacket on. I wouldn't go nowhere deep without one on, because I know I ain't laying like that. But I want to get on them rafts and ride the stream and all that old kind of stuff. It takes money to do that. It takes money to do what God. What I finally realized because of the death of my brother Ezekiel Alfonso Porter, I'm sitting up here thinking that God just talking to the people in the church about getting up out of church, going out into the street and feeding the people, ministering to the people, guiding the people back then. He wasn't just giving that to me to give to them. He was also giving that to he wasn't just giving it to the people, he was giving it to me too. And I didn't realize it until my brother sat right over there in that seat right there, man, him talk. And I said, yeah, when God heal you, man, I said, we're going to go out, we're going to go camping, we're going to travel, fish, and we're going to go around, we're going to feed the homeless, we're going to talk about God, and just that and other. My brother, and he sat over on that table, we stayed for a time, he said, yeah. He said, I like that. I like to do that. I said, huh? He said, yeah. He said, I did that before. I said, huh? He said, yeah. When I was on my probation, one of the things that I had to do was do community service. He said, we used to prepare meals and go and feed the people up under the bridge. And he said, I felt good after I did that. And I looked, so wow. Say, yeah, we're going to do that. And I didn't understand what my brother meant about how he felt good in taking it. You feel good when you have it. That's that God, and that's you giving away to the God that's in you, because that's what God is. God is a giver. God is a helper. And I understood what he meant by that when I do it from time to time. You know, God is a giver. God wants to help one another. So anyway, to make a long story short, really the enemy has 3 things planned for next month. And I don't think none of these are small things. That's me speaking right now. I didn't tell him that. He just told me 3 things. So let me leave it at that. I'm hoping that he reveal it to people that I know is in his counsel, so maybe they can see it like I used to see and be guided like it. I'm asking them to do it, but I know you have to spend time with God in order for that to happen. I know you have to spend time with him. And I try to, but I'm not spending the time that I used to. I know this. I'm not going to get on here and lie to y'all. You know, I give them a couple hours, you know, but I know with what's going on right now and what I need to know, what y'all need to know I need to give them more, and I'm trying. You know, so, and y'all need to give them more. You mothers, please, for y'all, step out the house, take your children out, lay hands on your children and ask God to keep your child safe. A 4-year-old baby got shot here in Detroit last night on East Side, got killed. 18-year-old too, young males. The man was created for the woman was created for the man. Do y'all see what's happening? Do y'all see it? And they're killing them when they're young, before they can produce, before God can use them. Do y'all see it? And I'm going to tell you something. When innocent get killed, them demons get full and they go crazy off of that blood. Oh, isn't it? They drinking it in the spirit realm. I told you about the vision I had back in 2016 when I seen demons around a puddle of blood just drinking that innocent blood. And that was July or either June of 2016. And then right after that in August, 90 people got killed in Chicago. And stuff got real crazy. We feeding them demons. And them 3 little girls, it opened up gates and portals here. You know, so your mother, please lay hands on your children. Your father, please lay hands on children. If there's a mother and a father in the house together, both of y'all at the same time, put your hands on your children and cry out to God for mercy. It ain't over with. I love y'all. Have a blessed day. And please keep Africa in y'all prayers. Men, we can't do this without them. And y'all lying to yourself if y'all think y'all could destroy them and we going to be able to do that. God said, you know, I'm going to read this and I'm going to end this. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 and 28. And then I'm going to end on this. 26, 27, 28. I'm through. I'm through. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, 27, and 28. Verse 26 says, and God said, let us make men in our image, after our likeness, and let them have, and let them. That's 2. Have dominion. He said man, but he said them. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps up on the earth. Them. Now watch this. So God created man in his own image. Man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Male and female he created he them. Verse 28. And God blessed them. There go that them again. And God said unto them, there go that them again. Be fruitful together. Multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, them, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Them. How many times did he say them? Let's go back to this. Them, one. Let them have dominion. That's the first time. That's one. No, because it's going to be something there. And how many times said? Okay. Image of male and female. Them. 2, 3, 4. 4 times. God said that 4 times. How many letters in love? How many letters in life? I'm gone. Love y'all. Have a blessed day.